Hi, my name is Mo, and I'm a gay man in a civil partnership. I've been in a civil partnership with a man that I call my husband uh, for almost 6 years now, and we've been committed to each other for seven. So, um, for us, being able to have a civil partnership was immensely important, and it was a real lifesaver for us, as we are a binational couple. Uh, My partner is from the United States and I'm British. So being able to have a civil partnership actually allowed us to be together because we had absolutely no rights as a couple or as a family in the United States. Now, I call this man my husband, but of course, legally, it's actually not true that he's my husband. He's my civil partner, and yet everyone knows he's my husband. I can describe him as my husband. That's all understood. And we have a lot of rights as civil partners. But under law, he's not my husband. And that seems very strange, really. Uh, it's just one thing, really. And I've heard lots of things where people have said, oh, but, civil partners have the same rights as married people. And, basically it's the same, so why should you be concerned about that? Well, there are a number of reasons. I mean, if it is really equal, if it is really the same, then we can call it marriage. And if it being called civil partnership is really no less than marriage, then in that case, I presume all married couples will be happy to now have a civil partnership and not be able to legally call each other husband or wife. I somehow doubt that, though. Now, it's 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 really fantastic what we've been able to get through civil partnerships, but it is not equality, and culturally it's not equality. It still does not have the same status as a marriage, and all of the things that people say about, well, marriage is between a man and a woman. Okay, that's dogma. Marriage is for the production of children. Well, in that case, no elderly couple or no barren couple would ever be able to marry. So that doesn't really hold up, I'm afraid. But aside from those things, aside from the cultural things, which mean that gay people are not treated the same, that gay men and lesbians are not viewed the same, are not treated the same, and that gay and lesbian children grow up seeing that their future is not equal because it's basically there in black and white, essentially. Even when we went for our civil partnership, there was a big sign on the wall saying a marriage is only between one man and one woman in this country. Now, we had a fantastic registrar, and she did a wonderful ceremony for us. And at the end of it, she basically said to us that you cannot be legally called married. The moral reality of your marriage, in effect, cannot be denied. So there's a lot there which is just not making sense, really. We're either married or we're not. Everyone, everyone who is, everyone who really understands us and is sympathetic to us considers us to be married. So why not call it marriage? On the other hand, those who are against equality and against our life, they are very clear that we are not married. Now, that's a little bit telling, really. The fact that people who are for equality recognize it as marriage, even though it's not called marriage. And the people who are against equality, well, they really have something to say about it, and they want to keep it that way. And basically, it's because it denies equality. So I think that sort of really shows it up, actually. But I do think it's very important to realize that marriage equality is not about gay marriage. Marriage equality is about marriage irrespective of gender. And one group of people that affects really appallingly is the trans community. It's a really awful thing that when somebody transitions, they have to completely change the nature of and the legal status of their relationship. I mean, that's just crazy. You know, somebody's married, they transition to their real inner gender, they make that transition, their inner gender is recognized, and their marriage effectively is then dissolved, because they can no longer be married, because they're the wrong gender to be married. And at that point they have to have a civil partnership. Or it might go the other way, of course. But the thing is, it's just frankly pathetic that we look at somebody, we've got to know what their gender is and what the gender of their partner is before we can say they're allowed to get married or not. So that's an awful price to exact from the trans community, and I think that's one of the biggest single arguments for marriage equality. It really has to end. You know, this discrimination has to end. So marriage equality is about marriage irrespective of gender, because gender is completely irrelevant. There's absolutely no reason to bring gender into it. There is absolutely no reason to bring gender into it, or to make gender a determinant. Absolutely none. To keep gender as a determinant of marriage is to simply back discrimination and back inequality. And that is why bringing about marriage irrespective of gender is marriage equality. And I'm out for marriage, out for equal marriage. I hope you are too. Thank you.